a little girl asked the mailman to deliver a letter to heaven. The first snow of December began falling over Bellwether, Ohio, before sunrise, softening the roofs, silencing the empty streets, and turning every porch light into a pale golden star. By 7 o'clock, the town looked almost peaceful enough to forget that people inside those houses were still losing jobs, missing loved ones, fighting illnesses, and waking from dreams they wished were real. Walter Reed had carried mail through Bellwether for 34 years. He knew which porch steps froze first, which dogs only barked and which ones meant it, which widows waited behind lace curtains for pension checks, and which children watched for birthday cards from grandparents who lived far away. At 62, he walked more slowly than he once had, but he still refused the easy route with the newer truck. He said a mailman should know the sound of the streets beneath his shoes. That morning, he was halfway up Maple Lane when he saw a little girl standing beside a blue mailbox at the end of a narrow driveway. She wore a red coat that was too thin for the weather, purple rain boots, and a knitted hat with one white pom-pom hanging over her left ear. Snow had gathered on her shoulders. She held an envelope with both hands as if it were something alive. Walter recognized her. Lily Harper, 8 years old, 3rd grade, house number 117. He had delivered sympathy cards there 11 months earlier, after her father died on a rain-slick highway outside Columbus. "Morning, Lily," Walter called. "You'll freeze out here." "I was waiting for you," she said. Her face was serious in the way only a child's face could be serious, without pride or disguise. She stepped toward him and held out the envelope. Walter read the address written in blue crayon. Daniel Harper. Heaven. The brightest star after dark. Please do not bend. 3 stamps were stuck crookedly in the corner. One was an old Christmas stamp. One was a butterfly. The third was a sticker from a box of cereal. Walter looked at her. "This is an important letter." "It's for my dad." "I see that. He died last winter." "I remember." She watched his eyes carefully. "Mom says heaven doesn't have a zip code, but you know all the addresses, right?" Walter had answered thousands of questions on porches. He had been asked when checks would arrive, why packages went missing, whether Santa used priority mail, and why letters sometimes came back after people had moved away. No question had ever felt as heavy as the one Lily asked him in the snow. He could have told her the truth in the simplest way. He could have said the postal service did not deliver to heaven. He could have handed the envelope back. He could have asked her mother to explain death again, more clearly this time. Instead, he bent one knee and brought his face level with hers. "Heaven mail takes a different route," he said. Her eyes widened. "But you can send it." Walter looked at the envelope again. The blue crayon had pressed so hard into the paper that the name Daniel Harper was visible from the back. "I can make sure it starts the journey," he said. Lily released a breath that turned white between them. She placed the letter in his gloved hand. "Will he write back?" Walter felt something close painfully beneath his ribs. "I don't know," he said, "but I promise your letter won't be thrown away." That answer seemed to satisfy her. She hugged him without warning, then ran toward the house. At the porch, she turned around. "Mr. Reed." "And yes." "Tell them it's urgent." Before he could answer, she disappeared inside. Walter stood alone at the mailbox while snow covered the shoulders of his gray uniform. He slipped the letter into the inside pocket of his coat, separate from the electric bills, catalogs, holiday cards, and official envelopes that belonged to the ordinary world. For the rest of his route, he felt the small square of paper against his chest. By noon, the snow had thickened. Walter returned to the Bellwether post office, a red brick building with a clock that had been 5 minutes slow since 1998. He sorted undelivered mail, scanned packages, and answered a complaint from Mr. Purdy, who insisted someone was stealing his gardening magazines, even though he had forgotten to renew the subscription. The whole time, Lily's letter remained in his pocket. At 2:30, when the other carriers left, Walter sat alone in the break room. A vending machine hummed beside him. On the wall hung photographs of retirement parties, charity drives, and postal workers who had grown old in the same blue shirts. Walter placed the envelope on the table. He did not open it. He had spent his adult life protecting the privacy of sealed envelopes. A letter belonged to the person who wrote it and the person whose name was on the front. But what happened when the person on the front was dead? What happened when the address was a place no truck could reach? He turned the envelope over. The flap was sealed with silver stars. On the back, Lily had written one more sentence. Please hurry because mommy is packing. Walter stared at those words until the humming of the vending machine seemed to fill the room. The door opened. Denise Cole, the postmaster, stepped inside carrying her coffee mug and a stack of route reports. She was 50, sharp-eyed, and had the practical expression of a woman who had solved too many problems before breakfast. You look like that envelope is about to confess to a crime, she said. Walter slid it toward her. Denise read the address, her expression changed. Lily Harper. Walter nodded. Denise knew the family. Everyone in Bellwether knew the Harpers after the accident. Daniel Harper had been 37, a mechanic at Finley Auto, volunteer coach for the Little League team, and the kind of man who helped neighbors move refrigerators without waiting to be asked. On the night he died, he had been driving home in heavy rain after taking an extra shift. His truck crossed the center line near Mill Creek Bridge and struck a guardrail. The police report blamed standing water and poor visibility. Did you tell her we can't deliver it? Denise asked. I told her Heaven Mail takes a different route. Denise closed her eyes. Walter. She was standing in the snow. Children do that. She asked if her father would write back. Denise sat across from him. And what did you say? I said I didn't know. That part was honest. Walter turned the envelope over so she could read the message on the back. Denise's face tightened. Packing. I noticed a certified letter from First County Bank last week, and another from a property management company. You noticed. I notice addresses. You notice everything. Walter looked toward the frosted window. Emma Harper may be losing the house. Denise lowered her voice. That is not our business. No. And neither is what's in that letter. No. But you're going to make it your business anyway. Walter did not answer. Denise sighed. Do not pretend to be that child's dead father. Do you understand me? I would never do that. Grief makes decent people do foolish things. Walter put the envelope back inside his coat. I just need to know why she thinks her mother is packing. You could ask Emma. She might tell me to stay out of it. She would be within her rights. Walter stood, then I'll listen when she does. At 4 o'clock, he drove his old Ford pickup to Maple Lane. The snowplow had pushed a ridge of gray slush against the curb. House 117 was a small 2-story home with yellow siding, a cracked front step, and Christmas lights hanging from only half the gutter. Several cardboard boxes were visible through the front window. Walter climbed the steps and knocked. Emma Harper opened the door wearing black work pants and a white diner blouse beneath an oversized sweater. She was 35, though grief and exhaustion made her look older. Her brown hair was tied at the back of her neck. A name tag from Bellwether Grill still clung to her blouse. Mr. Reed, she said. I'm sorry to come by after my route. Is something wrong with the mail? He took out Lily's envelope. Emma looked at it, and all the color left her face. Where did you get that? Lily gave it to me this morning. Emma glanced over her shoulder. She's upstairs. I didn't open it. Of course not. She reached for the envelope, then stopped before touching it. What did she say? She asked me to send it to her father. Emma pressed her lips together. For a moment, neither of them spoke. I told her Heaven Mail took another route, Walter continued. I'm afraid I may have given her more hope than I should have. Emma looked at him with sudden anger. She has hope because she's 8. It isn't your fault. I also saw what she wrote on the back. Emma turned the envelope over. When she read the sentence, her shoulders sank. I was going to tell her tonight, she whispered. Tell her what? Emma stepped outside and pulled the door nearly closed behind her. The porch light cast a tired circle across the snow. The bank gave me until the end of the month, she said. Daniel's life insurance paid less than we expected because of an old loan against the policy. I fell behind after the diner cut my hours. I've sold what I can. My sister lives in Kentucky. She said Lily can stay with her until I get settled. You're sending her away. For a few weeks, maybe 2 months. Does Lily know that? She heard me on the phone. She thinks I'm leaving her. Emma rubbed her forehead. She doesn't understand that I'm trying to keep her safe. Walter held out the letter. Maybe you should read it. Emma did not take it. I can't. It might help you understand what she's afraid of. I already know what she's afraid of. Then perhaps it will help her to know you listened. Emma looked toward the door. Upstairs, floorboards creaked. She writes to him all the time, Emma said. On grocery receipts, school paper, the backs of menus. She folds them and puts them under her pillow. I've never read one, they're hers. Walter nodded. Daniel used to travel for work before he took the job at Finley's, she continued. Whenever he was gone, he mailed her postcards. He told her a letter could find someone anywhere if you wrote their name with enough love. Her voice broke on the last word. Walter lowered his eyes. Emma noticed, what is it? Nothing. No, you made a face. It's cold, that's all. For the first time, Emma touched the envelope. She ran her thumb over Daniel's name but did not take it from Walter. Keep it tonight, she said. Why? If she asks, I want you to be able to say it's on its way. Walter looked at her. I know that sounds terrible, Emma said quickly. I know it isn't real. But tomorrow is the anniversary of the last day she saw him alive. She barely slept last night. Just let her believe the letter has gone somewhere, one night. Walter placed it back inside his coat. I can do that, he said. Emma opened the door, then paused. Mr. Reed. And yes. Please don't write back. I won't. I mean it, I need my daughter to trust the living. So do I. Walter drove home through streets glowing with Christmas decorations. His house stood at the edge of town near the old water tower. It was a narrow white bungalow he had shared with his wife, Margaret, for 29 years. She had died 6 years earlier after a stroke. Since then, the rooms had remained arranged around her absence. Her sewing basket sat beneath the living room window. Her recipe cards filled a drawer in the kitchen. A blue scarf still hung on the back of the bedroom door, because Walter had never decided where else it belonged. He heated canned soup, ate 3 spoonfuls, and left the rest on the stove. Lily's letter lay on the table, beneath the yellow kitchen light. Walter stared at it for a long time. Then he went to the hall closet, moved 2 winter coats, and reached for a dented metal toolbox on the top shelf. It was heavier than tools should have made it. He carried it to the table and opened the rusted latch. Inside were old photographs, Margaret's hospital bracelet, a watch that no longer ran, and a bundle of letters tied with faded green ribbon. Beneath those letters, flat against the bottom, lay a cream-colored envelope. Miss Lily Harper was written across the front in Daniel Harper's handwriting. Walter closed his eyes. 11 months earlier, on the afternoon before Daniel died, Daniel had been waiting at the curb when Walter delivered the mail to Maple Lane. Rain clouds crowded the western sky. Daniel wore grease-stained coveralls and held the cream envelope above his head. Special handling, he had joked. My little girl's birthday is next Friday. I'll be working late all week, so I wrote something before I could mess it up. Walter had teased him about putting a letter in the mailbox when the recipient lived upstairs. She likes getting real mail, Daniel said. Makes her feel important. Walter had slipped it into the side pocket of his satchel, separate from outgoing mail, promising to bring it back on Lily's birthday. That evening, Margaret collapsed in the kitchen. Walter found her on the floor when he came home. He rode in the ambulance, spent 2 nights beside her hospital bed, and watched her die without waking. In the days that followed, he forgot the envelope in the satchel. A substitute carrier used his route bag. The bag went into a storage cabinet. By the time Walter returned to work 3 weeks later, Daniel Harper was dead, buried, and the town had already filled the Harper mailbox with sympathy cards. Walter found Daniel's letter a month after the funeral. He could have delivered it then. He should have delivered it then. But shame had fastened around his throat. The envelope bore no stamp because Daniel had trusted Walter to carry it back. It had never entered the official mail stream. Walter imagined Emma asking where it had been. He imagined Lily opening a birthday letter from her dead father after the birthday had passed. He imagined losing the job that had become the only part of his life still functioning. So he took the envelope home. Every week afterward, he intended to bring it to Maple Lane. Every week, the silence around it grew heavier. He began telling himself it was kinder not to tear open the family's grief again. He told himself the letter might contain ordinary words that would only hurt them. He told himself Daniel had asked for delivery on Lily's birthday, and that day was gone. Now Lily's blue crayon letter to heaven lay beside the cream envelope her father had written while he was still alive. Walter sat at the table until midnight, looking from one to the other. At last he whispered into the empty kitchen, "Margaret, tell me what to do." The house answered with the ticking of the wall clock. The next morning, Lily was waiting again. The snow had stopped, and the sky was bright enough to make the world look new. She ran beside Walter before he reached the mailbox. "Did you send it?" "It has started the journey," he said. "Is it on a plane?" "Not exactly." "A rocket?" "No." "Do angels pick it up?" Walter adjusted the strap of his satchel. "I imagine some deliveries are handled by people we can't see." Lily considered this. "Dad said you were the best mailman in Ohio." Walter nearly stopped walking. "When did he say that?" "When you found my birthday card in the snow 2 years ago." He remembered. A gust had lifted several envelopes from an open tray. Walter had searched a ditch in freezing rain until he found Lily's card from her grandmother. "Your dad exaggerated," he said. "No, he didn't." At the next driveway, Lily lowered her voice. "Do you think heaven reads letters out loud?" "I don't know." "I hope not, some parts are private." Walter glanced at her. "Then I'm sure they'll respect that." She walked with him to the corner. Before turning back, she said, "I told Dad I was sorry." Walter's hand tightened around the mail. "For what?" Lily looked down at her boots. "The last thing I said to him." Walter waited. "He missed my winter concert. I had a solo. He promised he would come, but a car broke at the shop and he stayed late. When he got home, I yelled at him. I said I wished he wasn't my dad." Her voice became very small. "He left for work before I woke up the next morning. Then the police came that night." Walter did not know what to say. No training manual told a mail carrier how to lift an 8-year-old's guilt. Lily looked up. What if heaven only remembers the last thing? "It doesn't," Walter said immediately. "How do you know?" "Because love has a better memory than anger." She studied him, searching for uncertainty. "Are you sure?" Walter thought of all the words he had not said to Margaret, all the conversations postponed because he believed there would be another morning. "Yes," he said, "I am sure." Lily nodded and ran home. Walter continued down Maple Lane, but the cream envelope in his coat pocket seemed to grow heavier with every step. He had brought it with him that morning. He had planned to give it to Emma. Yet when he reached house 117, he had delivered only a utility bill and a grocery advertisement. Fear had won again. That afternoon, Emma came to the post office. She stood at the service counter after the lobby emptied, still wearing her diner uniform. Denise saw her, glanced toward Walter, and quietly locked the front door 5 minutes early. Lily asked whether her father answered, Emma said. Walter came around the counter. "What did you tell her?" "That some answers take time." "That was wise." "No, it was cowardly." Emma pressed both hands against the counter. "I found 3 packed bags under her bed. She thinks she has to be ready when I send her away. She put her stuffed rabbit, 2 shirts, and Daniel's baseball cap in them. She left all her school books because she said she won't need school in heaven." Walter's face went cold. "She said that?" "She thinks if she disappears, she can be with him and I won't have to pay for food." Denise stepped closer. "Has she tried to hurt herself?" "No, she's 8. She doesn't understand what she's saying, but I can't pretend this is only sadness anymore." Emma's eyes filled. "The school counselor can see her on Monday. My sister is driving up tomorrow. I'm sending Lily with her now, before I lose the house, before I lose my mind, before I lose my daughter too." Walter reached inside his coat. His fingers touched Daniel's envelope. He could end part of Lily's uncertainty right there. He could place her father's last words in Emma's hands. He could confess what he had done and accept whatever followed. But Emma was already breaking apart in front of him, and Walter heard the old lie inside his head. Not now. This is not the moment. Wait until she is stronger. He pulled out Lily's letter instead. You should read it with her, he said. Emma stared at the silver stars sealing the flap. She may not want me to. Then ask. Emma took the envelope. When she left, Denise remained by the locked lobby doors. You had something else in your pocket, she said. Walter looked at her. I saw 2 envelopes. He said nothing. Denise's voice softened. What are you hiding? Something I should have delivered a long time ago. To the Harpers. Walter turned away. Walter. I can't talk about it. You can, or you can keep letting whatever it is decide who you are. He walked into the sorting room. Denise followed. You once told me undelivered mail is not just paper. You said people put pieces of their lives in envelopes because they trust us to carry them. I remember what I said. Then carry it. Walter faced her. And if carrying it destroys what is left of that family? Denise shook her head. You don't get to call fear kindness. The words struck harder because they were true. That evening, Emma sat with Lily on the edge of her bed. The room was filled with half-packed boxes and glow-in-the-dark stars stuck to the ceiling. Daniel's baseball cap rested on the pillow between them. Walter did not know what happened inside the house until Emma told him later. But for Lily, that night became the moment when the wall between her grief and her mother's grief finally cracked. Emma held out the blue crayon envelope. Mr. Reed brought your letter back to me, she said. Lily's face fell. He couldn't send it. He said the journey might begin here. That doesn't make sense. No, Emma admitted, a lot of things don't. Lily grabbed the envelope and pressed it to her chest. You can't read it. I won't unless you ask me. It's for Dad. I know. Then why did he give it to you? Because I think your dad would want us to help each other. Lily turned away. Emma looked at the packed bags under the desk. Are you planning to go somewhere? No. Please don't lie to me. You're sending me away first. I'm sending you to Aunt Sarah for a little while because I may have to leave this house. You don't want me. Emma inhaled sharply. Lily, look at me. The girl kept her face turned toward the wall. Emma took her hand. There is no house, no job, no debt, no mistake, and no sadness big enough to make me stop wanting you. Do you understand? Then why can't I stay? Because I am scared. Grown-ups aren't supposed to be scared. Grown-ups are scared all the time. We just get good at carrying groceries while we are scared. Lily almost smiled, but the smile disappeared. I cost money, she whispered. You are not a bill. I heard you tell Aunt Sarah you can't afford me. Emma's face crumpled. I said I couldn't afford childcare while I worked extra shifts. I never meant I couldn't afford you. I should never have said it where you could hear. Lily looked down at the letter. I asked Dad to take me, she said. Emma stopped breathing for a moment. Take you where? To heaven so you could rest. Emma wrapped both arms around her daughter. Lily remained stiff for only a second before collapsing against her. The letter was trapped between them. I don't need rest from you, Emma said through tears. I need you here. I need your shoes in the hallway and your cereal bowl in the sink. I need you to ask too many questions when I'm late for work. I need you to grow up and slam doors and make terrible music choices. I need every hard day with you. Lily began crying. I told Dad I was sorry, she said, but what if he still thinks I hate him? He knew you loved him. You don't know. Yes, I do. How? Because every night after you fell asleep, he checked your room, even when he was angry, even when you were angry. He always opened the door and listened to you breathe. Lily's hands trembled as she broke the silver star seal. Will you read it? She asked. Emma unfolded the pages. The letter began with uneven handwriting. Dear Daddy, Mr. Reed says Heaven Mail takes a different route, so I hope this finds you. Mommy is packing boxes, and I think she is sending me away because I cost too much. I can eat less. I can stop asking for cereal with marshmallows. I can wear my old shoes even though my toes touch the front. Please tell her I can be good. Emma stopped reading. Lily pressed her face into her mother's shoulder. After a while, Emma continued. I am sorry I said I wished you were not my dad. I did not mean forever. I only meant for 5 minutes because I was mad about the concert. I looked for your truck in every seat. When you did not come, everybody else's dads clapped and I pretended I did not care. I think maybe God heard me and thought I meant it. If that is why you died, please tell him I changed my mind. Emma's voice broke completely. She handed the page to Lily, but Lily shook her head. Keep reading. I put your baseball cap under my pillow because it still smells a little like the garage. Mom washed your jacket and now it smells like soap and I got mad at her but I did not tell her. She cries in the bathroom with the water running. I hear her. Please help her stop. Please help me be less expensive. If you can't come home, can I come there? I don't need a big room. I can sleep on a cloud. I promise I won't say the bad thing again. Love forever. Lily. P.S. If Heaven has mailboxes, please put your name on yours so the next letter is easier. Emma held the pages against her chest and rocked her daughter until both of them were exhausted. Across town, Walter sat at his kitchen table with Daniel's cream envelope in front of him. He did not know that Emma was reading Lily's letter aloud. He did not know that mother and daughter were finally telling each other the truths they had hidden to protect one another. He only knew that another day had passed and Daniel's letter remained undelivered. At 9:15, someone knocked on Walter's front door. His son stood on the porch. David Reed was 38, tall, broad-shouldered, and wore the navy jacket of a regional postal inspector. He lived in Dayton and had not visited his father in 6 months. Walter's first thought was that Denise had called him. His second was that he deserved it. Can I come in? David asked. Walter stepped aside. David entered the living room and looked around at the unchanged furniture. His gaze paused on Margaret's sewing basket. Denise said you were having trouble with a piece of mail. She had no right to call you. She didn't tell me details. She said you needed family. I need a supervisor less than I need family. I came as your son. You're wearing your inspector jacket. I came from work. Walter walked into the kitchen. David followed and saw the cream envelope on the table. He read Lily's name. What is that? Walter sat down. David remained standing. Dad, what is it? Daniel Harper gave it to me before he died. David's eyes sharpened when? The afternoon before the accident. And you still have it. Walter told him everything. Margaret's collapse, the forgotten satchel, the weeks that passed, the fear, the excuses. He spoke without defending himself because every defense sounded smaller when spoken aloud. When he finished, David stared at him as if he had become a stranger. You withheld a piece of mail from a grieving child for almost a year. It never had postage, it was a personal favor. Do you hear yourself? I know what I did. No, I don't think you do. You made the same choice you always make. You let silence grow until it became too large to cross. Walter's jaw tightened. This is not about you. It is exactly about me. David pointed toward the living room. Mom died and you stopped calling. You stopped answering. You sat in this house with every word you should have said and convinced yourself you were protecting me from your grief. You were angry. I was 29 and my mother was dead. You blamed me for not getting home sooner. I blamed everyone. I blamed the doctors. I blamed God. I blamed the ambulance. I blamed you because you were standing there. I said terrible things, and you decided those were the only things I would ever say. Walter looked down. David picked up the envelope, but Walter reached for it. Don't. Why? It's not yours. Then take it where it belongs. I will. When? Walter had no answer. David placed the envelope back on the table. You told me once that dead letters are only dead because no one tries hard enough to find where they belong. I was talking about addresses. You were talking about people, you just didn't know it. David walked to the door. Are you reporting me? Walter asked. His son looked back. I came as family. What you do next decides whether I have to come back as an inspector. The door closed. Walter sat alone beneath the kitchen light. After a long time, he untied the bundle of letters in the toolbox. They were letters Margaret had written to him during the early years of their marriage, when money was scarce and Walter worked night shifts. He opened one at random. Her handwriting leaned forward, impatient and warm. Don't wait until you feel brave, she had written. Brave is usually just what people call you after you do the thing while terrified. Walter read the sentence twice. Then he put on his coat, took Daniel's envelope, and drove to Maple Lane. Emma's sister's car was parked in the driveway when Walter arrived. Suitcases stood near the front door. Through the window, he saw Lily sitting on the stairs in her red coat while two women spoke in the kitchen. Walter remained on the porch for several seconds, the cream envelope trembling slightly in his hand. He thought of turning around. Then he remembered Margaret's words. He knocked. Emma opened the door. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Behind her stood Sarah, a taller woman with the same brown eyes and a protective set to her mouth. Mr. Reed, Emma said, this isn't a good time. I know. Lily leaned over the stair railing. Did Dad answer? The question filled the hallway. Walter looked at Emma. In a way, he said. Emma's expression hardened. You promised me. I did not write anything. He held out the cream envelope. Emma looked at Daniel's handwriting and made a sound that was almost a gasp. She did not take it. Where did you get that? Daniel gave it to me the day before he died. Sarah stepped forward. What did you say? Walter entered only when Emma moved aside. He stood beneath the hallway light with snow melting from his boots and told the truth for the second time that night. He explained the special birthday delivery, Margaret's collapse, the forgotten satchel, and the envelope he discovered after both Margaret and Daniel were gone. He confessed that fear had kept him from bringing it. He confessed every excuse. He did not ask them to understand. When he finished, Emma was pale with fury. You had his last letter, she said, all this time. And yes, my daughter spent 11 months believing her father died thinking she hated him. I didn't know what was inside. You knew it was for her. And yes, you came to this house every day. Walter lowered his eyes. Yes. You put bills in my mailbox. You handed me sympathy cards. You watched her wait at the window for letters that would never come, and you had this. And yes. Emma took the envelope from him so sharply that one corner cut his glove. Get out. Lily descended 2 steps. Mom. Upstairs, please. But that has my name. Lily, go upstairs. It's from Dad. Emma pressed the envelope to her chest. Tears ran down her face, but her voice remained steady. Please go to your room. Lily stared at Walter. He saw trust disappear from her eyes. You lied, she said. Walter swallowed. Yes. You said my letter was going to Dad. I said it started a journey, but I should have told you the whole truth. You're not the best mailman in Ohio. No, Walter said, I'm not. Lily ran upstairs, her bedroom door slammed. Emma opened the front door. Leave. Walter stepped onto the porch. Emma, he said, whatever you decide about me, please give her the letter. You don't get to tell me what to do with it. You're right. She closed the door. Walter stood in the snow until the porch light went dark. Inside, Emma carried Daniel's letter to the kitchen. Sarah followed. Neither woman spoke. The envelope looked impossibly clean after almost a year in Walter's toolbox. Daniel had written Lily's name in large block letters and drawn a tiny star above the second eye. Sarah reached for her sister's hand. Open it with her. Emma shook her head. I can't even breathe. She has waited long enough. He stole this from us. He was afraid. So was I still got out of bed every morning. I'm not defending him. Then don't. Upstairs, Lily's bedroom floor creaked. Emma looked toward the ceiling. Anger demanded that she protect the letter until she could control what it would do. Love reminded her that it had never been hers to hold. She went upstairs. Lily sat beneath the glow-in-the-dark stars with Daniel's baseball cap pulled low over her eyes. Her packed bags remained beneath the desk. Emma placed the envelope on the bed. "This is yours," she said. Lily did not touch it. Mr. Reed lied. And yes. Did Dad really write it? Yes, that's his handwriting. Maybe he wrote it before I said the bad thing. Emma checked the postmarkless envelope, then remembered Walter's story. He gave it to Mr. Reed the day after your concert. Lily slowly removed the cap. He knew. He knew you were angry. Her fingers hovered over the envelope. What if it says he was angry too? Then we will read that together. What if it says goodbye? Then we will read that together too. Lily slid one finger beneath the flap. The old glue released with a dry whisper. Inside were 3 folded pages and a small yellow ticket made from construction paper. The ticket read, "One whole Saturday with Dad. No work, no PHONES. Lily chooses everything. EXPIRES never." Lily held it so tightly that the paper bent. Emma unfolded the letter. "My favorite Lily Bean. Happy 9th birthday 1 week early, because your dad is bad at keeping secrets and even worse at remembering where he hides presents. Mr. Reed promised to bring this back on your birthday, so you are receiving official mail. That means you are now a very important person, though I already knew that." Lily looked at her mother. "I'm not 9. You would have turned 8, Emma said. Your dad always added a year by mistake. A tiny laugh escaped Lily before she could stop it. Emma continued. "I am writing because I missed your concert, and I know sorry is a small word for a big hurt. You looked for me, and I was not there. I can explain that Mrs. Donnelly's car broke down and she needed it for work. I can explain that the shop was short-handed. But explanations do not clap when your daughter sings a solo. I should have been there. You said you wished I was not your dad. I know you did not mean forever. You meant you were hurt, and you wanted me to feel some of it. I did. That is okay. Children are allowed to be angry with their parents. Parents are supposed to love them through it." Lily covered her mouth. Emma's voice shook, but she read on. "There is nothing you can say in 1 angry minute that can erase all the mornings I braided your hair badly, all the pancakes we burned, all the times you fell asleep on my shoulder, or every time you shouted, 'Dad,' like I was the person you most wanted to see. Love does not forget a whole life because of 1 sentence. Tomorrow I am going to tell you something good. I accepted the maintenance job with the school district. It pays a little less, but I will be home for dinner and I will not work Saturdays. That yellow ticket is for the first one. You can choose the zoo, the lake, the science museum, or sitting on the couch eating ice cream until your mother tells us to stop." Emma paused and pressed the page to her lips. Daniel had never made it home to tell them. She had spent months believing he died worried about overtime, debt, and another broken car. All along, he had already chosen them. Lily touched the sentence with 1 finger. "He was coming home more." "Yes," Emma whispered. "He wasn't leaving because I yelled." "No, baby. He didn't drive away because of me." "No," Emma pulled her close, "never because of you." The final page was shorter. "One day, when you are older, you may think love means never disappointing anyone. That is not true. We disappoint the people we love because we are human. Love means coming back, telling the truth, and trying again. When I knock on your bedroom door tonight, I will knock 3 times. 1 means I am here. 2 means I love you. 3 means forever. If we are ever far apart, remember the 3rd knock. I am proud of your brave voice, even though I missed hearing it. Sing for me again this Saturday. Love for every day I get and every day after. Dad? P.S. Mr. Reed really is the best mailman in Ohio, but do not tell him I said so. It will go to his head." Lily stared at the final line. Her tears fell silently onto the page. "He was wrong," she said. Emma knew she meant Walter. People can do a wrong thing and still have good in them, she said. He kept Dad away. He kept the letter away. That's the same. For 11 months, it probably felt the same. Lily folded the yellow ticket against her palm. I hate him. Emma looked at Daniel's words. Children are allowed to be angry. Parents are supposed to love them through it. You are allowed to be angry, she said. Do we still have to leave? Emma glanced at the packed bags. Aunt Sarah came because I asked for help, but I am not sending you away tonight. We will make the next decision together. Can I sleep in your room? And yes. Can Dad's letter come too? And yes. That night, Lily placed Daniel's letter beneath Emma's pillow and kept the yellow ticket in her fist. Just before sleep, she reached toward the wooden headboard and tapped 3 times. Emma tapped 3 times back. The next morning, Walter reported himself. He arrived at the post office before dawn, placed his badge and a written statement on Denise's desk, and waited beside the sorting cases. When Denise read the statement, she removed her glasses. You delivered the letter. I gave it to Emma. How did she react? As she should have. You understand, I have to send this to district management. And yes, you could be suspended. And yes, you could lose your route. I know. Denise looked at the badge. You have 6 months until full retirement. I should have thought about consequences 11 months ago. You were grieving. So were they. Denise pushed the badge back toward him. Keep it until I get instructions. Walter did not touch it. I won't carry mail today. Walter. I made a promise that every letter in my hands would be safe. I broke it. I need to accept that before I put on the bag again. He left the badge on her desk and walked home while the other carriers loaded their trucks. News moved quickly in Bellwether, especially news no one fully understood. By afternoon, people at the diner whispered that Walter had stolen money from a greeting card. Someone else said he had hidden a legal document. Mr. Purdy announced at the hardware store that the government had finally caught Walter reading everyone's magazines. Denise corrected no one. Emma told no one. David filed no report beyond Walter's own statement. Walter spent the day removing old mail trays from his garage and cleaning a workbench that did not need cleaning. At 3, he heard the familiar postal truck pass his house. For the first time in 34 years, someone else was carrying his route. He told himself the loss was deserved. That did not make it painless. 2 days later, Emma went to the post office to mail paperwork to her sister. Denise called her into the office. Walter reported himself, Denise said. Emma folded her arms. I didn't ask him to. He knew you wouldn't. What happens now? Temporary suspension while the district reviews it. The letter was never stamped or officially accepted, which makes the rules less clear. The moral failure is clearer. Emma looked toward the sorting floor. Walter's empty case was marked with a strip of blue tape. He hurt my daughter, she said. And yes, he also gave her the only thing that has made her sleep through the night since Daniel died. Both can be true. Emma's eyes filled, but she blinked the tears away. I don't know how to forgive something that should never have happened. Denise nodded. Forgiveness is not pretending the thing was small. I'm tired of people telling me what forgiveness is. Then don't forgive him yet. Emma looked at her. Anger has a job, Denise said. It tells us where we were hurt. Let it do that job. Just don't give it every job in the building. Before Emma left, Denise slid a paper across the desk. It was an application for a seasonal clerk position. We need help through January, she said. Early mornings, some evenings. It is not charity. It is loud, tiring work, and half the public will blame you for weather. Emma stared at the hourly wage. It was more than she made at the diner. I don't know anything about mail. Neither does Mr. Purdy, and he explains it to us daily. Emma almost smiled. The job could become permanent, Denise continued. Benefits after probation if a position opens. Your sister said she could stay 2 weeks and help with Lily. I called her. You called my sister. She called me first. She wanted to know whether Walter was a criminal. "And what did you say?" "I said he was a man who failed to deliver one letter and spent a year being punished by it." Emma looked again at the application. "I don't want anyone saving me because they feel sorry for us." "Good, we need someone who hates being helped. They usually work hardest." Emma took the paper. That evening, Lily wrote another letter. She did not address it to heaven. She addressed it to Walter Reed, the White House by the Water Tower, Bellwether, Ohio. She put a real stamp in the corner and drew no stars. She wrote for nearly an hour, then tore the paper in half. She began again, tore that page too, and finally folded a third version into the envelope. The next morning, she carried it to the blue mailbox. The substitute carrier, a young man named Kyle, reached for it. "Is Mr. Reed coming back?" Lily asked. "I don't know. He always knew when people were coming back." Kyle looked at the address. "This is for him." "And yes, I'll make sure he gets it." Lily held the envelope a second longer before letting go. "Don't lose it." Kyle's smile disappeared. "I won't." Walter received the letter the following afternoon. He recognized Lily's handwriting before he saw the return address. He sat at the kitchen table, the same place where her letter to heaven had rested, and opened it carefully. "Dear Mr. Reed, I am still mad at you. Mom says I am allowed. You had Dad's letter and should have brought it. I think you were scared, but I was scared too, and I am only 8. Dad said love means coming back, telling the truth, and trying again. You came back and told the truth. I do not know about trying again because you are not delivering mail now. Mom says people are not only their worst thing. I hope that is true because I said the worst thing to Dad, and he still loved me. Maybe it has to be true for you too, but I am not finished being mad. The yellow ticket says it expires never. Mom says we can use it even though Dad cannot come. We are going to the Science Museum when we have enough gas money. I will save a seat. You can be the second best mailman in Ohio for now. Lily Harper. P.S. Dad said not to tell you he called you the best, but you already read his letter on the outside. Mom says you did not open it, so maybe you did not know. Now you know, do not let it go to your head." Walter laughed once, then covered his face and wept. He wrote a reply, but he did not mail it immediately. He read it 3 times to make sure it contained no excuses. "Dear Lily, you have every right to be angry. I was afraid, and you are correct that being afraid does not make the wrong choice right. Your father trusted me with his letter. You trusted me with yours. I failed the first trust and did not fully explain the second. Thank you for telling me that a person may be more than his worst thing. Your father was a wise man, so are you. I am going to try again, whether or not I carry a mail bag. I hope the Science Museum has a seat for your anger too. It may need to come with us. Walter Reed. P.S. Second best is a generous ranking." Lily received the reply on Monday. She read it twice, put it beneath Daniel's letter, and said nothing about forgiveness. For the next week, life moved in small, difficult steps. Emma began training at the post office at 4 in the morning. Sarah stayed with Lily, helped pack only what needed packing, and argued with the bank until they granted Emma an additional 60 days to sell the house rather than face immediate foreclosure. Emma found a small apartment above a bakery on Pine Street. It had 2 bedrooms, crooked floors, and a kitchen window facing the sunrise. "It isn't our house," Lily said when they toured it. "No," Emma replied. "Dad has never been there." "No." "Then how will he know where we live?" Emma touched Daniel's letter inside her purse. "We will bring what matters." They accepted the apartment. Walter's review meeting was scheduled for December 23rd. David offered to drive him to the district office, but Walter said he could go alone. "That is the problem," David replied over the phone. "You always can go alone. You act like needing no one is a moral achievement." Walter sat in silence. David continued, "I am offering to drive you, Dad." "I heard you." "Then answer." Walter looked at Margaret's blue scarf hanging on the bedroom door. "Yes," he said, "please drive me." It was the first request for help he had made of his son in 6 years. David arrived before sunrise on the 23rd. During the hour-long drive, they spoke first about traffic, then about work, then about Margaret. The conversation was awkward and incomplete, but neither man escaped into silence. At the district office, Walter accepted responsibility before a panel of 3 administrators and a union representative. He explained that Daniel's letter had never entered official processing, but that he had accepted it as a postal employee and failed the trust attached to his position. The panel considered his record: 34 years without discipline, thousands of commendations from customers, emergency deliveries during floods, and a winter incident when he found an elderly resident unconscious and called for help. They also considered the long delay and the harm it caused. The final decision was a 30-day suspension without pay, mandatory ethics retraining, and removal from special duty responsibilities for 1 year. Because Walter planned to retire in 6 months, he would return to his route in January and finish his service under review. Outside the office, David released a long breath. "You're going back. If the town will have me." "The town thinks you stole a gardening magazine." "That may be harder to forgive." David laughed. Walter did too. On the drive home, snow began falling again. By Christmas Eve morning, Bellwether was under a winter storm warning. Wind swept across the fields, and the temperature dropped through the afternoon. Emma finished her shift at noon and hurried home to the Yellow House for their final Christmas there. Sarah had baked cookies. Lily had cut paper stars and hung them from the ceiling with string. Daniel's letter stood upright on the mantel, beside a framed photograph of him, lifting Lily onto his shoulders. For the first time since his death, Emma allowed herself to play his favorite Christmas album. At 4, the power flickered. At 5, the roads began closing. At 5:30, Emma realized Lily was missing. Her red coat was gone, so were Daniel's baseball cap, the cream letter, and the yellow ticket. The back door stood open 3 inches, snow blowing across the kitchen floor. Emma screamed her daughter's name into the storm. Sarah ran into the yard. They searched the garage, the porch, and the neighboring houses. No one had seen her. Emma called the police, then she called Denise. Within minutes, the phone tree of a small town did what official systems could not. Neighbors checked sheds. Volunteer firefighters searched side streets. The bakery owner opened his empty apartment units. Teachers drove slowly along the school route with hazard lights flashing. Denise called Walter. "She took Daniel's letter," Emma said when Walter reached the house. Her voice was nearly unrecognizable. "She took the ticket. She may think she can use it with him." Walter looked at the tracks behind the house, but wind had already erased them. "What did she say today?" he asked. "Nothing. She was happy. I thought she was happy." "Did she mention the science museum?" "This morning, she said Dad never heard her sing. Then she asked where the accident happened." Emma's face changed as soon as she heard her own words. "Mill Creek Bridge," Walter said. The bridge was 4 miles outside town. No child could walk there quickly in deep snow, but Lily knew the bus route passed the old highway. Walter remembered seeing a county snowplow stopped on Maple Lane earlier. Its driver had offered rides to stranded residents. They called dispatch. The driver confirmed that a little girl in a red coat had waved him down near Pine Street. She said her mother was waiting at the gas station by Mill Creek. He had let her out there 40 minutes earlier. Emma made a sound of pure terror. The police were already heading toward the bridge, but drifting snow blocked the main road. Walter knew another way. His old mail route had once included farms along Mill Creek before the county reorganized service. A maintenance lane cut behind the abandoned grain mill and reached the highway from the east. "I can get there," he said. David, who had arrived minutes earlier, grabbed his arm. Not alone. They took Walter's pickup. Emma climbed into the back despite Sarah's attempt to stop her. The truck slid twice on the maintenance lane. Snow hammered the windshield faster than the wipers could clear it. At the grain mill, a fallen branch blocked the road. Walter stopped. "We walk from here." The wind was strong enough to steal breath. David carried a flashlight. Emma shouted Lily's name until her voice cracked. They followed the dark outline of the creek toward the bridge. Walter saw the red coat first. Lily sat beneath the concrete overpass near a wooden memorial cross planted beside the guardrail. Daniel's name was written on a metal plate. Snow covered her boots. She held his letter open in both hands and was singing into the wind. It was the song from her winter concert. Emma ran to her. Lily looked up startled. "Mom." Emma fell to her knees and wrapped both arms around her. "What were you thinking? What were you thinking?" "I had to sing it for Dad." "You could have died." "I wasn't going into the road." "You left without telling me." "I thought you would say no." "I would have brought you in the spring. I would have brought you every day if you needed. You cannot disappear." Lily began to cry. The ticket says Lily chooses everything. Emma pulled back and saw the yellow paper in her hand. "It says one Saturday with Dad," Lily continued. "Today isn't Saturday, but tomorrow is Christmas and maybe heaven makes exceptions. I thought if I read the letter here, he would hear me. I wanted him to know I got it." Walter removed his coat and wrapped it around her. His own shirt was immediately soaked by snow. Lily looked at him. "Are you a mailman again?" "Not yet." "Then how did you find me?" "I knew the route." A loud crack came from the hillside. Snow and loose branches slid down the bank, striking the edge of the maintenance path. David shouted for everyone to move. Walter lifted Lily. Emma held the letter inside her coat. They struggled toward the truck while wind erased their footprints behind them. Halfway back, Walter stumbled. David caught him beneath one arm. "I've got you." "I can walk." "I know, let me help anyway." Walter did. By the time they reached the truck, police lights flashed beyond the fallen branch. Paramedics checked Lily for frostbite and found only mild exposure. They checked Walter too. He protested until Emma told him to stop being stubborn. Inside the ambulance, wrapped in silver blankets, Lily looked at Walter across the narrow space. "I'm still mad," she said. "I know. But thank you for finding me." "You're welcome." "Mom says thank you does not cancel mad." "Your mother is right." Lily thought for a moment. "Maybe you can come to the Science Museum after all." Walter's eyes filled. "Maybe," he said. "Not because you saved me. Because Dad wrote your name in the letter, so maybe the ticket includes you." Emma sat beside her daughter. She looked at Walter for a long time. "You should have brought the letter," she said. "And yes." "You should have trusted us with our own grief." "And yes." "I don't know whether I forgive you." "I understand. But I don't want you to spend the rest of your life believing your worst choice is your whole life." Walter looked down at his hands. Emma continued, "Daniel wouldn't want that for Lily. I don't think he would want it for you." The ambulance doors opened, and cold light entered. That Christmas, the Harpers did not have a tree. The power stayed out until morning, so they returned to the house with Walter, David, Sarah, and Denise and lit candles across the living room. They ate slightly burned soup heated on a camping stove. Lily sang her concert song again, this time indoors, while Daniel's letter rested beside his photograph. When she finished, no one spoke for a few seconds. Then Walter clapped first. The others joined until the small room filled with the applause Daniel had missed. On Christmas morning, Lily woke before sunrise. She found Walter asleep in a chair with Margaret's blue scarf around his shoulders and David asleep on the couch nearby. Emma was curled beside Lily on a mattress on the floor. Lily took the yellow ticket from the mantel and wrote 4 words on the back. Used but expires never. 3 weeks later, Walter returned to Maple Lane in his gray uniform. The neighborhood watched from windows. Mr. Purdy waited beside his mailbox and demanded to know whether Walter had found the missing gardening magazines. Walter promised to investigate the renewal date. At House 117, the porch was stacked with moving boxes. Emma had accepted the permanent clerk position after another employee transferred. The bank approved the sale of the house, leaving enough money to pay the remaining debt and cover the apartment deposit. Lily stood beside the blue mailbox in her red coat. Walter approached slowly. "I have something for you," he said. He handed her a postcard from the Ohio Science Center. On the back, he had written the date of their planned Saturday trip. Lily examined the stamp. "Is this official mail?" It passed through the proper system. Good. She looked at his satchel. Do you still have my first letter? No, your mother has it. Dad can still hear it. I think some words reach people because we say them, and some reach them because they change us. That sounds like a grown-up answer. I'm afraid so. Lily shifted from one boot to the other. I forgive you a little. Walter nodded solemnly. I'll take excellent care of it. Not all the way. No. Maybe more after the museum. That seems fair. She turned to go, then hurried back and hugged him. Walter closed his eyes. Over the next 6 months, Bellwether changed in ordinary ways. The snow melted. The river rose. The bakery painted its sign. Emma and Lily moved into the Pine Street apartment, carrying Daniel's photograph, his baseball cap, and both letters in the first box. Their new kitchen was smaller, but sunlight entered every morning. Walter completed his route without another violation. He accepted that some neighbors trusted him less. He answered their questions without resentment. When his retirement day arrived in June, the post office lobby filled with people from every street he had served. Emma spoke briefly. She did not tell the full story. It belonged to Lily. She simply said, Walter taught us that delivering a letter is not the same as carrying paper. Sometimes it means carrying the truth, even when it is late and even when it costs you. David stood beside his father during the ceremony. He had begun visiting every Sunday. Sometimes they talked about Margaret. Sometimes they repaired things in the garage. Sometimes they sat without speaking, but the silence no longer served as a locked door. Denise presented Walter with a framed map of his route. Lily had marked every house with a tiny blue star. Above Maple Lane, she had written, Heaven Mail started here. After retirement, Walter volunteered at the Bellwether Public Library. With Emma, the school counselor, and a local grief group, he created a wooden writing desk in a quiet corner. Above it hung a sign. Letters for someone you miss. Children and adults could write whatever they had never been able to say. They could take the letters home, keep them in a memory box, place them in a locked archive, or read them aloud during monthly gatherings. No one promised that the letters would travel beyond the living world. No one wrote false replies. The purpose was not to pretend death had an address. The purpose was to make sure grief did not become a room where people sat alone. Lily named the program The Different Route. On the first Saturday it opened, Walter found a letter on the desk addressed to Margaret Reed, wherever you are. He recognized David's handwriting. David sat beside him while Walter read it. Then Walter wrote his own. For the first time, father and son told Margaret the things they had withheld from each other and from themselves. Years passed. Lily grew taller. Her red coat became too small and was donated. She learned to sing without searching every audience for Daniel's face, though sometimes she still imagined him clapping in the back row. She visited the Science Museum with Emma, Walter, and David. They carried the yellow ticket in Daniel's baseball cap and placed it on the empty seat between them during lunch. At 12, Lily stopped saying she wanted to go to heaven. At 14, she became angry at Daniel for dying and then felt guilty for being angry. Emma reminded her that children were allowed to be angry with their parents, even when the parents were gone. At 16, Lily read both letters at a gathering for grieving students. Her voice shook, but it did not break. She said, "The letter my dad wrote did not bring him back. It brought back the part of me that believed he left because of something I said. Sometimes the answer we need is not an answer from heaven. Sometimes it is the truth that someone on earth was too afraid to deliver." Walter sat in the front row. Lily looked at him and added, "Late truth still matters, but it does not erase the harm of being late. Both things can be true." Walter nodded. When Lily graduated from high school, she wore the small blue star from Walter's retirement map pinned inside her gown. Emma had become assistant postmaster by then. She had paid every debt left from the yellow house and saved enough to help Lily attend community college. Lily studied social work, but during summers she worked as a temporary postal clerk. She liked the rhythm of sorting, the names repeating across streets, and the quiet trust of sealed envelopes. Walter taught her how to read an address written by a shaking hand and how to recognize when a person at the counter needed patience more than speed. On the 10th anniversary of Daniel's death, Lily returned to Mill Creek Bridge with Emma and Walter. The old wooden cross had rotted, so they replaced it with a small metal marker. Lily read Daniel's letter aloud one more time. When she reached the line about love having a better memory than anger, she smiled. "That wasn't in Dad's letter," Emma said. "No," Lily replied. "Mr. Reed said it." Walter looked surprised that she remembered. "I remember everything from that week," she said. "I wish some of it had been different." "So do I." She took his hand, but then we made the rest different. Walter was 72 when his heart began to fail. He moved into a small assisted living apartment near the post office, where he could hear delivery trucks each morning. David visited often. Emma brought soup. Lily brought stacks of letters from the different route program, never sealed ones, only notes people had chosen to share. One December afternoon, snow began falling over Bellwether before sunset. Lily, now 18 years older than the child in the red coat, arrived wearing a postal service jacket over her college sweater. She had accepted a part-time rural carrier position while finishing her degree. Walter sat by the window beneath Margaret's blue scarf, which was framed on the wall. "I have official mail," Lily said. She handed him an envelope addressed in blue ink. "Walter Reed, the second best mailman in Ohio. Room 214. Walter laughed, "Only second. Your ranking never recovered completely." Inside was a copy of the first page of her father's letter and a photograph of the library writing desk. More than 3,000 letters had been written there over the years. Beneath the photograph, Lily had written, "You delivered more than one letter." Walter held the note against his chest. "Do you still write to your father?" he asked. "Sometimes." "Where do you send them?" "I don't send them anywhere. I read them to Mom, or I keep them. Sometimes I leave them at the bridge." "Does that feel like enough?" "No," Lily said, "but enough is not the same as everything. Grief taught me that." Walter looked outside at the snow gathering on the street. "I used to think my job was to know where every letter belonged." "What do you think now?" "Sometimes the writer is the one who needs to be found." Lily sat beside him until the room grew dark. Before leaving, she adjusted his blanket and tapped 3 times on the wooden arm of his chair. 1, I am here. 2, I love you. 3, forever. Walter tapped 3 times back. He died peacefully the following spring with David beside him and Margaret's old letters in the drawer near his bed. At his memorial, the town placed an empty mailbag beside a photograph of Walter on Maple Lane. Mr. Purdy brought a gardening magazine and tucked it into the bag, finally admitting he had never renewed the subscription. Lily spoke last. She told the story of a snowy morning when an 8-year-old girl asked a mailman to deliver a letter to heaven. She told the truth about the letter he failed to deliver and the truth about the life he spent trying to become more than that failure. "He did not prove that mail reaches heaven," Lily said. "He proved that love can survive a wrong address, a long delay, and a frightened heart. He taught me that apologies are letters too. They only matter when we deliver them." After the memorial, Lily walked alone to the blue mailbox on Maple Lane. The yellow house belonged to another family now. Children's bicycles lay in the yard. New lights hung across the porch. For a moment, she could see her younger self standing in the snow, holding an envelope with 3 crooked stamps. She took out a final letter. "Dear Mr. Reed, I am not mad anymore." That does not mean what happened stopped mattering. It means the truth had time to do its work. Dad's letter helped me forgive myself. Your confession helped me understand that adults can be afraid and still choose courage too late. Your life afterward taught me that too late is not always the same as never. You once promised my letter would not be thrown away. It wasn't. Mom kept it with Dad's. I read it sometimes and wish I could hug the little girl who wrote it. Then I remember that you stood in the snow and answered her carefully when an easy answer might have broken her heart. I hope Margaret knows you came back, told the truth, and tried again. Love forever. Lily. P.S. You may have been the best mailman in Ohio after all. Do not let it go to your head. Lily did not put the letter in the public mailbox. She carried it to the library and placed it in Walter's section of the different route archive, beside the copy of Daniel's letter and the map covered in blue stars. Then she began her afternoon route. Near the end of Maple Lane, a little boy waited beside a mailbox. He wore a green jacket and held an envelope with both hands. Lily slowed. "Are you the mail carrier?" he asked. "I am." He held out the envelope. On the front, in careful pencil, he had written, "Grandma June. Heaven. Near the garden with yellow flowers." Lily looked at the boy. His eyes held the same desperate hope she remembered from long ago. "My mom says you can't really send it," he said, "but I need Grandma to know I kept her seeds." Lily knelt so they were eye to eye. "This is an important letter," she said. He nodded. "Letters like this take a different route. Sometimes we read them to someone we trust. Sometimes we keep them in a safe place. Sometimes we plant something beside them and let the flowers carry the memory. The letter may not come back with a postmark, but what you wrote can still reach the people who love you here." The boy considered her answer. "Will you throw it away?" "Never." "Can you help me choose the route?" Lily held out her hand. "Yes," she said, "that is what mail carriers do." Together, they walked toward the library as snow began falling over Bellwether, softening the roofs, quieting the streets, and turning every porch light into a pale golden star. And somewhere between the blue mailbox on Maple Lane, the letter Daniel wrote before he died, the confession Walter carried too long, and the words Lily finally learned to say aloud, a message completed its journey. Not because heaven had a zip code, not because grief had been defeated, but because love, when someone is brave enough to carry it, always searches for a way home.